Morning, church. Today we're going to be looking at some more out of the book of Philippians, specifically Philippians 1, verses 12 through 26. And I'm not going to read it all. I encourage you to do that. Encourage you just to be in your word every day. But as I was going through this, it tells the story of Paul in jail and how it's becoming known to everybody that he's in jail for the gospel, and people start preaching Jesus for good reasons and for bad reasons. But Paul says, what does it matter as long as Jesus is preached? What do I care? And when he comes to this point of talking about, even though he's in jail, I'm going to pick it up in verse 20. He says, I eagerly expect and hope that I will in no way be ashamed, but will have sufficient courage, so that now, as always, Christ will be exalted in my body, whether by life or by death. And I thought about that in light of our current situation. No, we're not in jail. We can go outside and walk and do everything we need to do. We have some freedoms that we can go do, but during this time, I pray that all of us would have the sufficient courage that we need, so that now, as always, Christ will be exalted in us. And just thinking about in our lives how we can have courage to stand up for Jesus. Very thankful to several people from our church. Yesterday, we were able to serve some people from the Brown City schools. We provided for over 100 families, over 250 kids, and just able to go out and get out food to those people. And it was an amazing opportunity, and just a way that we can share the love of Jesus, and be courageous throughout this thing. We were cautious in what we did, but at the same time, we weren't going to let fear hold us back. And the next verse Paul goes into, very familiar verse. He says, for to me to live is Christ, but to die is gain. And just remind yourself throughout this time that if you have Christ, death is not the worst thing that can happen to you. In fact, it may be the best thing that can happen to you. In fact, Paul goes on and he says, I would much rather die and go be with Jesus than hang out with you people. But because you people need me, I'm going to stick around. And I love Paul. He's a good guy. But as we go through this, again, if we have this hope, if we have Christ in us, then the worst thing that can happen to us is we get this virus, or we cross the street and get hit by a car, or we die in our sleep, or whatever number of ways that we die, we go and we're with Jesus. And that's amazing. And we need to hold on to that. But the other part of that is there are many people, millions of people, who don't have that hope. And it's up to us to share that with them. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to have the sufficient courage to share Jesus with others, so that they can say, for to me to live is Christ, but to die is gain? Church, we got to be the salt and the light. Let's go to it. Praying for you, and just keep on keeping on.